What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 7 of our MLB The Show Pittsburgh Pirates franchise. I do know that a couple of you guys did actually end up seeing an episode 7 be uploaded a couple days ago. I do apologize for that. I had some corrupted footage. I had to end up deleting it, so that video, unfortunately, is lost and will not be recovered, but we will kind of get into the games and everything like that. So today is going to be the April recap video. We're going to get into a bunch of the different videos and just kind of talk about each and everything about the Pirates and really their farm system and just really how the past couple of days have been, and pretty much just go over the whole entire month of April, seeing where each player stands as April ends and wraps up, especially in the AAA. We're going to kind of showcase some of the prospects in our organization and things like that, kind of cover the injuries and a little bit of the around the league action, maybe potentially. As you will see right now, we are in the National League Central, standing one game behind the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds are currently 14-10. The Pittsburgh Pirates are sitting at 13-11, currently on a 2-game losing streak, as we ended up getting that 2-game sweep. Well, we didn't get the sweep. The Kansas City Royals got the sweep against us, so we do lose the 2 games against them. We are 5-5 in our last 10, so really we're not in that bad of water. We haven't been performing the best of a first place team right now. Obviously, a lot of people didn't even predict us to be 13-11, 1 game out of first, so not too bad. Second place is not bad for this team that we have. So with that being said, guys, we're going to get right into the injuries here. And now taking a look at the injuries, we have a couple that we are going to be going over. The major one that we are going to be talking about is Brian Goodwin. Brian Goodwin is going to be going down with a broken leg. He's going to be out 2 to 3 months, so really, really rough for us a little bit. We're going to be losing one of the key components of our outfield for the season. Although Brian Goodwin really wasn't performing the best, he was still producing some pretty good numbers, and he was able to at least give us some pop off the bat, and that was something that was a plus. So in the meantime, we're going to have to try to talk about some replacements, and we're going to be covering that replacement as soon as we get over the injuries. Another injury that is a little bit notable, as you will see, is Adam Frazier has fractured his wrist. We covered that in the last couple videos, but he is going to be out for approximately 44 more days, so we're going to be without Adam Frazier for quite some time until he gets that fixed. Also in the minor leagues, we did end up signing Christian Colon, and then just about as soon as we signed him, he strained his hamstring. Nothing too crazy. He should be back in 1 to 6 days. And then top prospect Travis Swaggerty, the center fielder, is also out 1 to 6 days with a lat muscle strain. So nothing too crazy, but it is definitely a little bit of a downfall having Goodwin out and Frazier. And taking a look at the outfielder that is going to be replacing Brian Goodwin in his spot for the time being is going to be outfielder and utility man Danny Santana. Danny Santana, we ended up signing him for a 2-year deal worth $2.1 million per year. So Danny Santana is going to be sitting about $4.2 million at the end of the contract. He's a switch hitting player, really nice developing player. He was 30 years old. We ended up signing him out of free agency. Dominican-born player. He has some nice pop on both sides. The left side, although he does have more pop, he kind of does struggle to make more contact, so it's a little bit weird, but he does end up putting up some decent power numbers. It's also worth noting that in 2019 or 2018, I do forget, he also posted like a 286 batting average, so he's looking pretty good, pretty promising guy for us to have in the organization, while a couple of the minor league players still develop and still try to figure themselves out. Taking a look around the league at some of the Pittsburgh Pirates league leaders, we have Kevin Newman, who is currently 5th in batting average, sitting at a .340 batting average. So really nice to see out of Kevin Newman, the second baseman, coming off of a bit of a struggling 2020. But again, we don't really count that year too much. Talking about pitching now, we also have Richard Rodriguez. He's going to be notching a lot of saves, so he's currently sitting at 2nd in saves. Moving on to Tyler Anderson. He is got 4 wins so far, so definitely a little bit of a good luck charm for the Pirates so far in the season. Really nice to see this out of young Tyler Anderson. Hopefully he can keep producing for us in the future. Moving on to the starting 9, we currently have the leadoff spot, Kevin Newman batting a .340. We already talked about him, absolutely raking so far in the major leagues. Now we have Neil Walker batting a .244 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. Not too bad out of Neil Walker, pretty average season for him, although the veteran looking to improve on his year out of Pittsburgh. Brian Hayes back at it, 247, finally getting the swing of things, currently in a lot. He's just batting really, really well lately. Colin Moran, 244 average, 3 home runs. A lot of consistency out of a lot of the middle part of our order. A lot of them just batting in that 244 area. But these guys are still able to produce, and we've still been able to rack together a lot of wins. Jacob Stallings, nice to see that Stallings is batting at 259, already 12 RBIs on the season. He's been very, very productive, not to mention the defensive outfield, or the defensiveness he's had on the field so far has been absolutely stellar. Gregory Polanco, another player that has been a little bit strugglesome, hovering in the 220, 218 mark, so hopefully Polanco can bounce back. Brian Reynolds now the 232 average. Really nice to see that Brian Reynolds is kind of starting to slowly but surely progress through. I'm very confident that Brian Reynolds is going to have a nice comeback season and really make his way. We already kind of talked about Danny Santana, not too much that we can talk about with him, so we are going to be moving on to Eric Gonzalez in 44 ABs. Eric Gonzalez batting at 267, mostly getting a lot of the offense, really only in the DH whenever we're in the AL, and then on top of that, he's getting a lot of action against lefties because he performs pretty well against lefties, so that is currently where we are with the lineup. And taking a look at the pitching side of things now, Chad Cole, our ace of the mound so far, currently sitting at 2-2 in 32 and a third innings. The strikeouts really haven't been there, but the whip has been really low. He's not really walking people, and the ERA in the 2.78 range, so Chad Cole has absolutely been phenomenal. He's really upgrading since the last time in the last couple seasons, so coming off of the injuries and the surgeries, it's good to see that Chad Cole is having a nice bounce back year with Pittsburgh. And Tyler Anderson, talking about him, although Chad Cole has been the ace, I think Tyler Anderson has almost been outperforming him, currently sitting 4-0. That is a league-leading 4-0, like we mentioned earlier, in 32 and two-thirds innings. He's got 23 strikeouts, so a bit more than what Chad Cole has. The whip also hovering well below a 1.04, so really, really looking good out of Tyler Anderson so far in the season. The lefty has definitely been productive so far in the Burke. And moving on to the pitcher that never strikes out, that is Steven Brault, only pitching 22 and a third innings. Brault really has not been able to go too long for us in games, and the strikeouts have been up though, 14 strikeouts and 22 and a third, definitely an improvement for Steven Brault, but as you can see, the whip in the ERA definitely struggling in the 1.52 for the whip, not something you really want to be seeing, and an ERA over 4, almost in the 4.5 range, so hopefully Steven Brault has a couple good outings in the next couple appearances, and he can bounce back and return just like we know Brault can. And moving into the question that most Pirate fans ask themselves, can Mitch pitch? And the question has been yes so far. In 26 and a third innings, he has struck out 26 batters, so the strikeout numbers averaging about a strikeout an inning, looking really, really good there. The whip is a little bit high in the 1.4 range, but we can always get that down. MLB average is about a 1.38, so he's pitching a little bit below average on the whip department. ERA a little bit inflated. He's let up a couple home runs, and he really hasn't got too much run support. So Mitch Keller, although the stats don't really show it, he has been absolutely phenomenal for us and really looking like the pitcher of the future for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So hopefully Keller can keep performing, maybe make an all-star appearance for the first time ever, and really kind of show that the black and gold runs through his veins. And the fifth guy in the rotation for the Pittsburgh Pirates is J.T. Brubaker, and similar to Steven Brault, he really just has not been the most productive guy in the entire team. He's really struggled in the whip area, 1.60. He's letting up a ton of hits, not something that you really want to be seeing out of JT Brubaker. Over 20 hits is just something that you don't really want to be seeing when he's only pitching 19 and a third. That's averaging more than a hit an inning. Also, the walks are a little bit up. Sometimes he loses control and not averaging too many strikeouts. So Brubaker really needs to bounce things back because Cody Ponce in the bullpen is looking very, very well, very sharp, and definitely a nice young up-and-coming prospect to maybe replace Brubaker if struggles continue. And getting a little more in-depth with the bullpen, and especially Cody Ponce, definitely a guy that might be getting a couple spot starts. In 11 and two-thirds, he's averaged 6 strikeouts with a 1.54 ERA. I know it's a bit of a small sample size, but the whip looking really, really enticing. Under a 1, actually under a 0.7, actually under a 0.65. He's sitting at a 0.60 whip, really, really low, not allowing any hits, and absolutely performing really well in that long relief spot that we've been giving him in the bullpen so far. And now talking about Michael Felipe, pleased, not allowing a run so far. Really nothing else you can really say about that one. Super low whip in 7 1/3 innings on 4 strikeouts, also 2-0, so definitely has got some offensive help whenever he's in. Definitely been a firecracker and a guy that we've been able to rely on so far. And one of the 2 lefties in our bullpen so far, Austin Davis, the whip has been up, letting up a lot of hits, and it's actually been a little bit scary, but hopefully if he can keep the strikeout numbers down and lower the hits that he's been allowing, Austin Davis might be a solid lefty to kind of keep around the team. Definitely a nice guy to have, solid breaks, solid benders on the mound. Now moving into Chris Stratton, 14 innings out of the pen. He's been pretty solid. This is definitely a guy that we can rely on to go pretty deep. A 3.21 ERA, pretty solid. The whip pretty low, around the 1.2 range. So Chris Stratton been pretty solid. Like I said, this is a guy that if Cody Ponce has been used, we can kind of utilize him to maybe go 2, maybe even 3 innings if we have to. So not too bad for Chris Stratton so far in April. And now jumping into recently acquired Kansas City Royals player Josh Staumont in 15 2/3 innings. He has struck out 13. This guy's throwing over 102 miles an hour, or averaging about 102 miles an hour right now. So Staumont looking absolutely phenomenal. Great bender on a curveball too. He has really good breaking stuff to kind of complement that fastball. So Staumont, although he's only in middle relief right now, is probably going to be kind of shuffling around. This is a guy that he does have okay stamina for a reliever. Again, this is a guy that can even go an inning, maybe 2 if we have to. So we're kind of utilizing Staumont to be one of those guys similar to Stratton that's going to be giving us more than just an inning so far. And then if we have to, we might move him on to a setup role or even a closer role if Rich Rod decides to struggle. And now moving on to the man that is slick and just down the creek, that is Kyle Crick. He has been absolutely phenomenal, if not probably one of our best relievers in the pen so far in 13 2/3 innings. He has averaged 13 strikeouts, not to mention that Kyle Crick has only allowed 1 run so far in those 13 2/3 innings, and that was just 1 home run that he has let up. So absolutely phenomenal. Kyle Crick absolutely trying to shove to be maybe getting an extension, something like that, but definitely Kyle Crick is a guy that we're going to try to hold around for a little bit longer in the franchise. And talking about the final lefty in the pen, that is Chasen Shreves, only 6 1/3 innings, the setup guy, not really getting too many outings to really try. In the outings that he has, he's let up some decent amount of runs, a 4.26 ERA in that 6 1/3 innings, also has a loss so far, and the whip sitting around the 1.6 range. Not really something you want to see out of your setup guys, but hopefully Chasen Shreve can bounce back. Like I said, very small sample size, not something we're too worried about, but I do believe that he's going to be another guy that can bounce back pretty quick. Moving into the closer spot, we have Richard Rodriguez. This is a very interesting case for a closer. We're going to kind of break down Richard Rodriguez a little bit because he's got an interesting case. You're going to see that ERA looks insane. It's sitting at a 7.15 ERA because in one game, only one game, did Richard Rodriguez get lit up. He allowed 5 to 6 runs, and it was definitely not a good outing for your closer, absolutely. But that does happen. It is baseball, and you have to push through, and that is absolutely what Richard Rodriguez has done because since then, he has not allowed a run since, and I'm pretty sure that he's only allowed like 1 or 2 hits since then. So Richard Rodriguez has came back and absolutely shut down everybody he has faced. You can see the whip is looking great, and that's why we kind of talk about the whip so much because that is sitting at a 1.24. So Richard Rodriguez, again, the ERA becoming a little bit of a past stat that we are going to be following, but it's still worth noting because it is nice to kind of talk about how players are performing, and it still does have its place in baseball. And we have a couple minor leaguers that we were going to be talking about. The first one is Oneil Cruz, and as most of you guys know, he was up in the Pirates organization. Then injuries happened. We had to make the Cupid shuffle and kind of mess around with the team. So Oneil Cruz is currently the 3-hitter in the AAA Indianapolis Indians, currently sitting at a 321 average and 81 at-bats. So Oneil Cruz has been phenomenal, also getting some stolen bases. This is a guy that could be the shortstop of the future for the franchise, so definitely going to be taking highlights on him and probably going to be doing a breakdown video on him very, very soon. So hopefully you guys stay tuned for that. But Oneil Cruz is definitely a guy that is going to be watched out for and really looking for him to produce more in and for us in the major leagues. And so far in the AAA season, it seems that our payoff of signing first baseman Diego Flores, a top prospect now in baseball, has paid off. Diego Flores, a potential 24 left-handed bat, Nicaraguan born, although we kind of highlighted him a little bit early in April. Since then, he has been performing very well. 4 home runs so far on the season on 13 RBIs. He's drawing a lot of walks, being very patient. You can see the on-base percentage sitting at a 364, and OPS around the 8, 10 range, so looking really good in 20 games so far, notching 16 hits. We would like to see him hit a little more doubles. I want to see this guy be able to drive the ball in the gap a little bit more, so hopefully he can do that while he's developing in AAA, and this could be a guy that we could be seeing a little bit sooner rather than later. Starting to develop himself into a AAA legend, that is John Ryan Murphy, the catcher for the Indianapolis Indians, Florida-born 29-year-old, see potential 76 overall John Ryan Murphy in the organization. This guy is probably going to be the next guy to get called up, just kind of throwing that out there. The guy is absolutely raking at the AAA level. In 42 at-bats, he has 14 hits on 5 home runs, an OPS screaming over 1,000, slugging at a 762, and on-base percentage over 400. John Ryan Murphy's doing absolutely phenomenal. The strikeouts are a little high, but it's obvious that this guy's trying to make an impact in the AAA and try to get that call-up. He is only 29 years old, so this could be a guy that might be the backup catcher for Stallings to replace him. The defense is okay, but it's definitely something he can work on, but the power against lefties is something that is almost major league ready, and we would love to see that on the Pirates team, especially with the success that that team has been having. And although he's down with the injury bug, this is a guy that we're going to be talking about. This is top prospect Travis Swaggerty, the center fielder of the future for the Pirates. Swaggerty, only 22 years old, and it's good to see that he is holding his own in the AAA level. I was a little bit afraid and a little bit skeptical about allowing him to be on this team. He's only a 62 overall, and I think he might need to be a little bit developing more. He is, again, only 22 years old, so the 66 at-bats that he's having, he's collected 17 hits on 3 home runs, also 2 stolen bases. I would like him to get the stolen base numbers up. We know Swaggerty is a guy that can run a little bit. I think he's hanging around a 77 speed, so this is a guy that definitely can do a little bit more with that. Strikeouts are down, so I'm pretty pleased with that, but we would like to see this guy walk a little bit more and just get on base in a little more aspects than we want. The OPS, not too bad, a 764, but before we even decide to even think about calling this guy up, he's going to have to be hovering around the 850 range, I think, for us to at least acknowledge him to maybe be a September call-up. And now taking a final look at April before we head things into May, you're going to be seeing that we did pretty decent, a 13-11 so far in the month of April, not too bad. We won a decent bit of series. We won the last 2 of the 3 that we did, so not too bad. We did really pretty much do a pretty good job of avoiding all the sweeps. If you count a 2-game series sweep, then I guess we did get swept, but I will not count that. So we did very well in our interleague games. We had a bunch of interleague games. We ended up winning a series against the San Diego Padres, so pretty good. The division could go a little bit better. We were a little bit lopsided on some of those games. We ended up losing a series against Cincinnati. We ended up winning the Cubs series, so we're doing very, very well against the Cubs. Milwaukee, another team that gave us trouble, so hopefully we can kind of come back and face the division rivals a little bit better and come at them. And as we are going to be talking about division rivals, the next video we are going to be diving into, we are going to be facing the St. Louis Cardinals and Jack Flaherty. The Cardinals are kind of struggling at 7-18, so this is a big chance for the Pirates to make a big splash and kind of run away on that division early in the season. Hopefully you guys do stay tuned for that one, and if you guys did enjoy today's video, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more amazing content, because only you can make a difference to today's channel, so your support is always greatly appreciated. And with that being said, guys, I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you.